Hello everyone. Welcome to the Code to Wealth, your path to financial freedom. If you're tired of seeing your money slip through your fingers and want to understand how to stop being manipulated by the traps of consumption, you're in the right place. But before we start, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any tips that can transform your financial life. Here, our motto is simple. Building wealth is not a dream, it's a decision. Let's get started. Have you ever stopped to think about what really keeps you stuck in poverty? It's not your salary, it's not the lack of opportunities, but something much more subtle and unfortunately invisible. I'm talking about a scam disguised as consumption, a scam that happens every day in your life. And the worst part is, you don't even realize it. The system teaches us that to be happy, we need to consume, we need to have more. And in this process, we become prisoners of a cycle of debt and financial limitations. But what if I told you that the biggest obstacle to your financial freedom is what you earn, but what you spend? Stick with me until the end of this video, because today, we are going to reveal how out-of-control consumption, which you think is a key to happiness, is actually the biggest villain of your financial freedom. And more importantly, we're going to show you how you can start breaking that cycle and building a solid financial future. So, get ready for a big revelation about the consumption that keeps you poor. We live in a society where we are constantly bombarded with messages telling us that happiness lies in having more. More clothes, more gadgets, more trips, more status. Consumer marketing is one of the biggest culprits behind this. It makes us believe that our happiness and success are tied to things we buy and teaches us that we should always be dissatisfied with what we have. But what happens when that dissatisfaction starts affecting our financial life? The system wants you to consume. It wants you to buy without stopping. And who benefits from this? The big corporations, the stores, and the banks. They invest billions to convince you that you need something more, even when you already have everything you need. And while you keep getting into debt, they keep profiting. And that's why we're here, to warn you about the biggest scam of the century. The consumption that keeps you poor. When we talk about consumption, we're talking about something that goes beyond the simple act of buying. The consumption that keeps us poor is much deeper than that, a form of manipulation that's present in all of our daily actions. Every day, we're exposed to ad commercials and even people who influence us to spend more than we should. Who hasn't gone to a mall and left with a bag full of things they didn't need? Or worse, who hasn't bought something on impulse because it was on sale? These are just examples of how consumption is designed to attract you and make you not think about the consequences. And the worst part is that society conditions us to believe that by spending more, we're rewarding ourselves for all our hard work. But that reward is often a trap. What seems like a temporary solution to your pleasure ends up becoming a financial burden in the future. But the problem isn't just in the act of consuming. The biggest scam of consumption is when it leads us into a vicious cycle where we can no longer distinguish between what we really need and what is being imposed on us. Let's analyze this together. The financing of a new car, for example. You imagine yourself driving a new car, right? Marketing makes you believe that owning a new car is a sign of success. But instead of being a symbol of accomplishment, that car becomes a financial burden, with high monthly payments that take up a significant portion of your budget. So what happens? You start entering a cycle of debt, where instead of building wealth, you're only feeding the system that keeps you on the hamster wheel of debt. And what's worse, after a few years, the value of your car is already depreciated drastically, but the payments continue. This is a scam of consumption, a lie disguised as an opportunity. The same happens with branded clothes. You're convinced that you need the latest fashion trend to be socially accepted. And when you buy that expensive piece of clothing, you feel a temporary sense of happiness. However, over time, that piece of clothing loses its value, and the money you spent doesn't come back. The same principle applies to the sales that attract us. It's not uncommon to see an unmissable discount, and suddenly find yourself buying something you didn't need, but seemed irresistible because of the price. The thing is, you didn't save, you just spent it wrong. Now, let's understand how this consumption truly affects your financial life. Every time you buy something without planning, you're actually committing yourself to the future. Let's think about it. What you buy today will impact your bank account tomorrow. A car loan, a loan for a trip, or even that new phone on a long-term installment plan. All of these create a financial burden that you will carry for months or even years. And what's worse, the amount you pay over time may be far greater than the actual value of product. Debts accumulate, interest rates rise, and instead of building a fortune, you're just paying the price for instant satisfaction. But it's not all lost, guys. You can change this reality, and I'm going to show you how. The first step is to change your mindset around consumption. The key here is to understand that consuming is not the same as investing. When you buy something on impulse, you're consuming. But when you invest, you're creating something that will generate returns in the future. And that's what you need to start doing. Think about the long term. The secret to breaking free from the vicious cycle of consumption is to learn how to plan your finances and make smarter choices. Instead of spending on things that leave you in the red, start prioritizing things that truly add value. This means cutting unnecessary expenses, shopping consciously, and most importantly, reserving a portion of your money to invest in assets that genuinely add value to your life. For example, stop financing things that depreciate over time. Instead of financing a new car, maybe you could buy a used one and save the difference. Instead of spending on branded clothes, start investing in financial education or an emergency fund. By making smarter decisions about where you put your money, you'll notice a significant change in your financial control. And remember, financial freedom isn't something that happens overnight. It takes discipline, patience, and a change of habits. But believe me, it's possible. Now, let's recap what we've learned so far. Uncontrolled consumption is indeed the biggest scam of the century. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of debt and financial commitments without you even realizing it. But you don't have to be another victim of this system. By changing your mindset, learning to plan your finances, and making smarter decisions, you can break free from this cycle and start building your true wealth. Remember, consuming is not the key to financial freedom. The secret is in investing, in building something that will genuinely add value to your life in the future. Now, I want to talk a little about how you can start making these changes in a practical way. The first step is to understand where your money is going. Many of us have no idea where every penny goes. So, what you need to do is track all your spending for 1 month. It may seem simple, but often, this simple action will reveal consumption patterns you didn't even realize existed. With this, you'll be able to identify where you're spending money unnecessarily and where you can start saving. Now, think about a second step, creating a budget. Knowing how much you earn, how much you spend, and how much you can save is crucial to taking control of your financial life. And most importantly, don't forget to include a portion of your budget for investments. Even if you can only invest a small amount at first, the important thing is to start building the habit of investing regularly. This will make all the difference in the long run. Uncontrolled consumption is undoubtedly the biggest obstacle for anyone seeking financial freedom. But the good news is that you have the power to change this reality. By understanding how the system works and adopting healthier financial habits, you can start breaking free from this vicious cycle. So, start today by changing your habits and taking control of your financial life. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the Code to Wealth channel, and activate the bell for more videos like this. Remember, building wealth is not a dream, it's a decision. See you in the next video.